happened in front of everyone, but no one said a word. An old man was told to go sit in the back just because of how he looked. Dirty boots, worn coat, wrinkled hands. He nodded and obeyed. But 3 minutes later, the driver looked up and realized who the man really was. And by then, it was too late. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm curious to know how far this story travels. Franklin Miles had taken that bus before, but something about that day felt heavier. Maybe it was the cold morning air, or the stiffness in his knees from a war fought decades ago. He wore his usual jacket, the same one with a faded patch on the sleeve that barely anyone noticed anymore. At 78, Frank had stopped expecting special treatment, but he never expected humiliation either. The moment he stepped onto the city bus in Atlanta, the driver looked him up and down with annoyance. "Back of the bus, man. This area's full," he said, even though a spot near the front had just cleared. Frank paused, blinked, and nodded without a word. He gripped the metal rail and began the slow walk to the back, gripping his cane, trying to stay steady while the bus jolted into motion. No one helped. No one spoke. The driver, Jason, maybe 30-something, kept chatting with a passenger near the front, cracking jokes like nothing happened. But one person noticed. A college student named Kayla, sitting in the middle row, caught a glimpse of the medal on Frank's hat, a silver star barely hanging on. She searched the name on her phone, out of curiosity, and what popped up made her stomach twist. There it was. Sergeant Franklin Miles, Vietnam War hero, honored by President Carter, awarded for saving 12 men under fire. And here he was, just humiliated in silence. Kayla stood, walked to the front, and quietly showed her phone to Jason. "That's the man you just kicked to the back." Jason laughed at first. Then he looked, and everything changed. He saw the same face, a little older now, a little tired, but unmistakably the same. The bus hit a red light. Jason turned around and called out, "Sir, you want to come up front? There's a seat." But Frank didn't even look up. He just kept watching out the window. A woman near him stood and offered her seat. Frank smiled softly. "Thank you, but it's all right. I've sat back here before." You could hear the silence settle like dust. No one knew what to say. Jason stared at the wheel, suddenly aware of every choice he'd made. When the bus reached Frank's stop, he got up slowly, nodded to Kayla with gratitude, and stepped down. Jason stood up, walked to the door, and called after him, "Sir, I'm sorry." Frank turned back for just a second and said, "You don't need to know someone's past to treat them with dignity." That night, Jason stayed up reading about the war, about people like Frank. The next morning, before starting his shift, he taped a small note above his dashboard. It said, "You never know who you're talking to. If this story moved you, comment the word recognition, because sometimes all someone needs is to be seen." There is a story here on the screen that will also move you. Press to watch. You won't regret it.